Thank you. Okay. So, as usual, I'm going to read some excerpts from Who Am I, and then followed by questions. So today's topic is body-mind concept. So identification with the body-mind is the cause of all our problems. We will never find complete happiness and peace as long as we consider ourselves to be mere body-minds, who take ourselves and everything else for real. We look for happiness in the world from love, relationships, sex, marriage, family, work, money, status, prestige, entertainment, food, alcohol, big houses, clothes, possessions, books, art, religion. The list is endless. Yet none of these things can bring us permanent happiness. They can only offer us transient pleasures and temporary relief because they are all external sources. We are not what we take ourselves to be. The body form is not the be-all and end-all. It is the medium through which we can know ourselves. We are not merely persons or separate individuals with needs and wants. We are not wives or husbands with families, jobs, mortgages, cars, etc., or single, unmarried, or divorced persons. We are not individuals or separate entities at all. You cannot take anything with you when your body expires. You cannot take your husband, wife, or your children with you. You cannot take your status or any of your treasured assets. Whether you are willing or not, whether you are ready or not, the time will soon come for you to leave the body with all its illusory attractions, possessions, and attachments. We may all know that we are not the body mind, but we don't live like that. The knowledge that you are not the body mind needs to be fully accepted and completely absorbed. It is only then that you will be able to loosen your attachments and dissolve all the illusions connected to this concept. Self-inquiry leads to self-knowledge or enlightenment, which in turn leads to self-realization. When you reach that stage, you will have little concern for worldly affairs. Your whole perspective will change. A complete transformation will take place. How will it happen? Through a deep and unwavering conviction that the body-mind is not your identity. When this shift occurs, you will witness what is going on around you, observing the illusion instead of being a part of it. And with sufficient detachment from all the imaginary happenings, you will remain untouched, uninterested, uninvolved, and most importantly, you will be happy and at peace. The pseudo-self, illusory ego, or false I, all the same, quickly formed into a somebody, believing itself to be a separate entity with a unique individual and often competitive identity. I am this, I am that, I will make my mark in the world. Or, at the other end of the spectrum, I am a failure, useless, or I cannot cope. You saw others as competitors or even enemies. Every step of the way, the ego kept on growing, asserting itself, and falling under the spell of the many attractions the world seemed to offer. You did not know that you were the source of everything, the power, the energy, the light, call it what you will. And as you took your place in the world, even though you hadn't a clue about who or what you were, you still had to cope with the many problems and difficulties that came your way. For example, the demands from work, separation, divorce, single parenting, physical illness or mental health issues, caring for a parent, grief, etc., etc. These difficulties caused you anxiety, worry, and fearfulness. Who am I? What is my true identity amidst all the struggle and strife? What drives me? These are the questions to ask yourself. Find out. It is easy to see how we have blindly bought into the imaginary world. We have been bombarded from the very beginning by many influences, impressions, relentless demands, and pressures from family, peers, society, etc. We have been brought up to believe that we are separate individuals. We have been brought up to compete, to do better than others, and to succeed in the world. But you are not an individual, a body form. That is an illusion. And the world is also an illusion. We can now replace our misunderstanding with a fundamental understanding of our reality. You are prior to the world, prior to beingness, prior to everything. Prior to beingness, you had no relations or friends. There was no such thing as a family life. You did not have any associations or interactions with others because there were no others. What was your existence like before this dream began? All the different kinds of emotions, such as joy, sadness, excitement, peace, etc., did not exist before beingness. And you are not connected to any of these. There were no such things as happiness or unhappiness, boredom or depression, fear, stress, suffering, vulnerability, and insecurity. These words and experiences appeared afterwards in the world of duality. You acquired language for the body form and accumulated knowledge for the body form. Prior to beingness, there were no words and meanings, such as affection and love. Nothing conceivable or perceivable existed. No thing. Don't buy into whatever is happening around you. The combination of presence and the 5 elemental body created our dream world. Identifying ourselves as separate individuals, disconnected from everyone else, dramatically complicated our existence, which we call our perfect or not so perfect life. Before beingness, there was nothing, No world, no relationships. This whole dream began when presence fused spontaneously with the body. All your relations are body-based. Mother, father, sister, brother, friend. The entire world is your spontaneous reflection, including your family. We have great affection for the body and its body-formed relations, such as our families. They are also part of the grand illusion. The family did not exist before the body form. It will not exist after the body form expires. Recognize the family as part of the dream, the unreal drama. Everything, the world and society, including all your family members, are appearances in the dream. That said, you have a responsibility to take care of your family. Your family is not a hurdle to self-realization as long as you are not attached to it. So begin to slightly loosen your attachments to the family and everyone else, so that you can see everything without exception as a dream. When you know life is a dream, your problems will not affect you. Being in the world, but not of the world, means you are acting in a dream, knowing at the same time that you are separate from it. Jai Guru. And now we have a few questions related to our mistaken identity. So the question is, so did I make the mistake of thinking I was the body-mind? Was it my fault? I answered it in this way. If a child experiences trauma in life and suddenly forgets who she is, the parents will remind her by giving her some clues from past events to remind and help her recover her memory. She may be shown photographs taken of herself and her family members, so that these may trigger, register, and hopefully help her regain her memories. You also suffered a trauma when you were suddenly pulled into the world and alienated from your source. This distressing event is the cause of your amnesia. You forgot about your essential nature that is blissful. You are not a woman or a man, but ultimate reality. When this knowledge triggers your memory, you will be on the road to recovery. Like in the illustration of the child, here this knowledge is reminding you of a long forgotten memory, your origin and goal. Jai Guru. Question. How easy is it to realize your true identity? It is both easy and difficult. If you are eager and earnest, it is easy. If you have a burning desire to find out what your existence is all about, this drive alone will motivate and propel you forward. What makes it difficult is that in order to inherit the treasure, you must reject everything you have accepted as valid until now. There is no doubt you need some courage to let go of everything you mistakenly thought was you. We are attached to so many things. It is no wonder we still find it challenging to give them up, even when we know that they are false. Here, when we say give up, we are talking about a shift in perception, a change of view, internal detachment, mental detachment, emotional detachment. Self-surrender or renouncement does not mean physically abandoning or separating yourself from your family, friends, or things. Not at all. It means using discernment and discrimination to disidentify and detach from these powerful and controlling forces and attachments. Suppose you have a problem that causes you pain and suffering. It happens because you believe you are a separate person and identify with the body-mind. Therefore, you take everything for real and let the problem affect you. But when you begin to disidentify from the body-mind, you will not take these issues so seriously. And with practice, the problems that come your way will affect you less and less until they no longer touch you. There is no escape from life's problems, but how you handle them is your call. When you know who you are, you will be able to face any problem head-on with courage. Understanding dissolves ignorance. We are using one thorn to remove another thorn. Both thorns are illusory. Nevertheless, when the right knowledge takes the place of wrong knowledge, the illusion dissolves. Put very simply, when you supplant the concept of I am a woman or I am a man with I am ultimate reality, the light of awareness shines. Jai Guru. Here is another question. If everything is illusion, how do we relate to our loved ones? So, relationships can offer us a great deal of happiness and fulfillment. However, we are all just actors playing different parts in the movie. To avoid falling into their trap and being completely sucked in, we need to be aware of this and remind ourselves constantly of it in the beginning or until we have the conviction. We are playing different roles in this dream of life. Establish this fact. Whatever relationship you may be in, whatever role you may be enacting, as a lover, wife, husband, mother, father, or friend, you are nonetheless always role-playing. Don't lose yourself in delusional thinking, believing yourself to be these characters in actuality. Don't be fooled by anything. This life is a dream. Emerge from the dream before it consumes you. Your perspective will change. And with that shift in perspective, your attachments will loosen naturally and spontaneously. And when this happens, your relationships will be even more rich and fun-loving because you will be free from your wants and needs. You will be free from all the illusion. Jai Guru. So, let's see. Now we've got some new questions here. I have heard that some devotees have different kinds of experiences during meditation. I don't have any. does that mean that I don't perform meditation correctly? So the answer to that is not at all. We should not compare ourselves to others. Some people have many experiences and some have very few. Some have none in the beginning, but they may come later. Experiences can be helpful for showing us landmarks, giving us encouragement that we're on the right track. But having them or not does not imply that you're not performing your meditation correctly. And the next one is connected. How important are spiritual visions and experiences? When one is close to a guru or teacher, there can be visions of him or her, but then again, there might not be. There could be many, or there could be few. Again, there are no rules. These do not happen because of the way we do our practice. They just happen spontaneously. And that is why when these questions and doubts arise, it is important to be guided by a teacher or a guru. The same thing as guru means the remover of that darkness or ignorance. Myself and Charles used to meet with Maharaj every week. We were very fortunate for what he called our revision of reality. It's important not to get stuck and not to have any doubts, not to think that you've ended the journey prematurely. When we met with Maharaj, he would ask us about our experiences that week and we would share them with them. And Maharaj would just say, very good, but it's not ultimate truth. Keep going deeper, go ahead. And it was really the same every week. But it's good to sort of have check-in with a teacher to make sure that you're not going down a blind alleyway and think that you're doing great. So, too many seekers delude themselves that the job is done when they've only had one or two glimpses. Okay, next one. Namaste Anjima. In the book Timeless Years, you write, the presence of the masters is very strong, sometimes even emitting a fizzing or sizzling sound. Could that sound also be described like the buzzing of bees? Was it non-local? Was it constant, although variable in volume? Again, here there's someone's trying to make a comparison with someone else's experiences. So it's not really important what my experience was. It's important to find out what your own experience is. So do not compare the experiences of others to your own. Really. The next one, is it necessary to be a vegetarian to receive the Nam mantra? We discussed the concept of vegetarianism a few weeks back. Why would it be when what we eat is only connected to the food body and not to you? The one necessity to receive the Nam is sincerity, and that after receiving the Nam mantra, you will not go looking elsewhere. And with that, there is the promise not to divulge the sacred mantra. And if you do, there's a betrayal of trust. You betray the master and you betray yourself, and it renders the Nam mantra useless. Maharaj sometimes initiated seekers freely, but when he heard of it being abused and mistreated, he held back and he was more discriminating about giving the mantra to seekers. So, Jai Guru. I have a great love for Jesus Christ. I feel that I am betraying his trust. Do I have to abandon my faith in the church to receive the Nam mantra? And I said, the lineage is all inclusive. Jesus Christ is a great master. And who is betraying? What are you betraying? Needs more self-inquiry here. All is one. Truth is one. You are separating everything. And you should not take the Nam mantra unless you're absolutely sure and don't have any doubts. There is no obligation to take it. Here there seems to be a conflict, and self-inquiry is the way forward before you decide. Jai Guru. I still feel very attached to my family. They don't share these teachings. Do I have to choose between the family or follow the lineage teachings? Attachment to anything needs some attention to reduce it, let go of it, to realize that the family is part of the illusion. Your duty to your family comes first. If you ignore the family duties, then that is the spiritual ego taking over, which is not the way. Again, this is a householder lineage, which means that looking after the family and following the lineage teachings are not incompatible. Most of the masters did so, and they are our examples. Jai Guru. Maharaj says that there is no birth and no death, that everything is an appearance, a projection of selfless self. Does this mean that I will never see my loved ones again when I pass away? So, there is no separate I. You are not separate from your loved ones. There is only one, not two. There is no duality. Therefore, your loved ones are already a part of you, a part of that same essence. There is only one essence. You will not see them in the literal sense because there is no you and no they, but the love will be there in that oneness. Jai Guru. And here's one about, would you share some stories about Ramakant Maharaj and his sense of humour? Somebody wants to know. So I've said there are many stories. His tone was so innocent, as if, how could you possibly be afraid of me? As if he couldn't hurt a fly. It's quite funny. Another one was when I returned in 2018 to the ashram and my birthday was approaching. The day before, Maharaj said excitedly in front of Anvita, "We have a surprise for you. Tomorrow we will celebrate your birthday in the ashram." And again he laughed like a child. Anvita was not pleased at all, and she scolded him. She says, "Maharaj, now you have spoiled the surprise." And Maharaj just kept on smiling and laughing. And so because of his light, fun and humorous nature, we could joke with him. So one day when we were Skyping with Maharaj and Charles was in a mischievous mood, he said to Maharaj, "Maharaj, we have a problem." Immediately Maharaj stopped smiling, looking very serious, and he said, "Problem?" And then he didn't like the sound of that, obviously. And then Charles said, "Yes, Maharaj, we are too happy." At which point we all laughed together. It was a good moment. So there are a few examples of a taste of his humour and how he would put others at ease. Right. So moving on to more serious things now. Someone has a question here and calls it radical measures versus lineage teachings. So in his books, Shri Ramakant Maharaj says that until all bodily knowledge, all concepts, all illusion is eliminated, the truth, the reality will not be revealed. But nevertheless, some seekers believe and hope that some radical measures, including, for example, the use of entheogens, plants containing substances that change consciousness, such as mushrooms, cacti, ayahuasca, etc., can accelerate, bring closer, or even give self-realization, help to realize the truth. So can such or other radical measures be useful in establishing reality? Jaiguru. So I said, trying to hurry the process is not advisable, and consuming something from an external source means that you are still caught up in illusion, because whatever is taken will only have a temporary effect. These plants or drugs may open doors that one is not ready for. They may cause a blissful experience as well, and then often with the blissful ones, there is a desire to re-experience it because it was so amazing. The question to ask is, where were all these so-called consciousness-changing substances prior to beingness? There was nothing there. The only way to find reality is by eliminating all the layers of illusion, turning within, and knowing that everything is within you. You are the source of everything. If you start experimenting with substances, natural or not, then these will create further layers of impressions and illusion that need to be removed. Jaiguru. And another question which calls Genie from the lamp versus Lineage Teachings. Why, despite the fact that not a little effort is being made, an invisible listener who hears the truth about himself, knowledge and other things that indicate his real essence still does not accept his truth, reality? Maybe he likes to experience these illusory experiences and therefore he is not in a hurry. It's like a genie who has been sitting in a lamp for thousands of years, is turned on and can fully realize its potential in being. So the answer said, it is a combination of both. Even though we wish to accept the knowledge and reality, the conditioning that we have undergone has left its mark. The person we grew up to be, the personality that was formed, took years. We cannot expect to dissolve overnight. It will take some time. And secondly, we have grown attached to worldly things and experiences, and therefore the taste and enjoyment of them can still be appealing. Also, many may be interested in finding out the truth of who they are, but not urgently, or in a hurry, as you say. They are casual about it and continue with one foot in the world and one foot in spirituality, and that will not work. As Maharaj said often, there has to be seriousness and full involvement to wake up from the dream. And as Nisargadatta said, you need to be willing to die for truth. Jaiguru. And what about the new concepts that appear in the course of practice? For example, yesterday came the realization of how everything works, like the game of the 5 elements strikes different forms, and the presence in contact with these forms bring them into action, into life, and thus it exists forever, leaving one form. It is at this moment through another form, and it is infinite. I just look at these ideas as other illusory thoughts. And I've said what you describe is more of a deepening of understanding. Yesterday, I was speaking with someone who said that during meditation, it became clear to him the actual reality of what non-duality means. That if there is not two, then he must be all. And it was an aha moment. Yours is like an aha moment, an understanding, deeper insight. So that is very good. It's not to be discarded along with the garbage. you should attach importance, because with the practice comes more understanding, which is what leads to conviction. So know better what to keep and what to throw out. It's important to use discrimination. So when you get lots of thoughts during the meditation, some of them are actually teaching you. So don't just dump them all together in the garbage. When they're teaching you things and giving you a deeper understanding, hold on to them. Jai Guru. So here's one. When thoughts come during meditation, let's say a thought comes and I identify it as some kind of unreasonableness, mental garbage. Do I need to discard it as unnecessary and try to switch to the one who perceives this thought? Let's call him a witness of thoughts. But at the same time, there is some kind of resistance or rejection, the effort caused by rejecting this thought. Or is it necessary to simply observe this thought, regardless of whether it's reasonable or unreasonable, without conducting any analysis and discrimination, just knowing that it is just an illusory thought, that I am not, and that is separate from me, regardless of whether it is good or bad? So I said, during meditation, when thoughts arise, all you need do is ignore the thoughts and keep reciting the Nam mantra. Always bring your attention back to reciting the Nam mantra when your attention strays. There is no point in analysing illusion. As I said before, only give recurrent thoughts attention. Sometimes there are deep-seated issues that keep arising. The same ones keep coming up and up again and again. So if that happens, it's a sign that you need to give some issue attention and use self-inquiry, but do it outside your meditation time. Jai Guru. Questioner, I really miss some kind of at least one-time experience, which would indicate that I am on the right track, because I'm starting to have doubts. Not doubts about the teachings or knowledge or faith, but doubts about the relative correctness of my sadhana. There are thoughts that I'm technically performing meditation and other disciplines incorrectly, that my involvement is not enough, and therefore there is no results and experiences. Yes, I understand that a year is not so much, but it's not just one day or a month either. I've been conscientiously doing daily meditation and bhajans all this time, regardless of the circumstances, but I don't see any obvious changes, either on the mental level or any other. Let's say in your case, you describe in Timeless Years that you had various experiences that encouraged you and deepened your conviction. In my case, it feels like I'm knocking on a closed door. So the answer, again, I is here. I really miss some kind of one-time experience, you say. The mind is playing games. You say you want them to indicate you're on the right track. Leave that to me. That is my job. Everyone is different. Some have experiences, some not. Some have many, others none. It is not important. And this is another mind game attempting to weaken your sadhana. Ignore this thought. The truth is that at times you probably find the practice dull and dry and boring, and the ego is looking for some lights and fireworks. Results show not through experiences, but in the way you live, act and react, and respond to different situations. The I says, I understand a year is not much. If you really understand the teachings and have absorbed them, then you would know better than to count the years. Time is a concept. Again, another mind game. There are lots of I's here. You should not be doing the practice with results in mind, i.e., if I do this, then I will get that. And it's not true to say there have not been any obvious changes either on mental or other. Leave that awareness to me for the time being. After reading Timeless Years, there was a noticeable opening up of the heart within you. Our bond grew deeper. Your devotion increased and continues to express itself in your messages to me. In conclusion, ultimate reality will not emerge until all body-based illusion has been erased. The I, ego, is still there. So how can you expect self-realization now? At this point in the process, you need to have complete faith in the practice and that it is working, in spite of what the mind is telling you. Ignore listening to the thoughts of there not being any results, as this will have a negative effect on you going forward, and it can, if you're not careful, become another illusory block. As Maharaj says, self-realization takes different lengths of time depending on your spiritual maturity. Also, I feel you need to get in touch more with your inner drive to find truth, to know who you are. Remember that liberation is from you, not of you. You use the future tense, I will have to say goodbye to my identity, when this is happening in the present as process. Also, you say you are theoretically ready. Again, the mind is talking. Theory is useless, and the eyes are evident. I am theoretically ready for this, but still nothing happens. Who is saying this? Self-inquire. Mentally, you may know some of the teachings, but they have not been accepted or lived, i.e., known pragmatically. There should not be any distinction made between the periods of practice and the rest of the day. You're compartmentalizing the practice and your work/family life, when the practice is a 24-hour practice, nothing less. When you're at work, you should practice remaining in the witness mode as much as possible while carrying out your duties. You should remain detached, not letting yourself take it all for real. You need to be aware when your attention leaves the center, leaves selfless self, and you get immersed in illusion. With practice, you should be able to be one removed from what is happening around you. Watch yourself with distance playing a part in the movie. It looks like you're still caught up in the movie, taking the dream for reality out with the practice. Questions. How seriously are you about self-realization? Yes, you carry out the practice, but how involved are you in and during it? Involvement means remembering your identity 24/7, not just during the practice. And in order for this to happen, you need to absorb the teachings more. Siddharameshwar Maharaj says you should know the teachings inside out so that you never get caught out by the world unawares. If you know the teachings completely, then they are to hand, and so there's no question of you falling into the ditch because you know what to do before it happens. Now for the positives. You're a very good devotee. You follow all that I say. You're open and honest and do not hide anything from me. Finally, here is your prescription. Follow the instructions and take the medicine, all of it. Taking into account that your days are full and busy, your weak point is the knowledge. I would give less time to the bhajans and more time to the knowledge, as it is still not absorbed. The bhajans are used to help absorb the knowledge, but if there are holes in the knowledge, then the bhajans are not so pressing. I feel that you've not read and studied Selfless Self enough. I recommend 1 chapter a day, sit with it, churn it over and over again and again throughout the day. Meditating on the knowledge means sitting with it, dwelling on it. And if you do this regularly, you will be able to absorb the knowledge and the mind will quieten down. To remind you of the process, the Nam mantra helps to dissolve you. When you hear the Nam vibration and its meaning of I am Brahman, Brahman I am, this helps you to remember your true identity. But by itself, it's not enough. You need self-knowledge, knowledge from the self-realized masters, and for that to be absorbed totally. Without a true and deep grasp of the knowledge, the false knowledge you have of yourself will linger. All the remnants will not be swept away. Jai Guru, Jai Sadguru, love, peace, joy and blessings shower you. Jai Guru. And at that point, we've come to the end of the questions, and Jai Guru. So if anyone has anything to say or not, thank you. Hearts. Jai Guru. Till the next time then. Thank you for coming. Jai Guru.
Thank you.
Jai Guru. Bye-bye.